Okay, started. Started. Tell me when it started. Okay. So hello everyone and welcome to the Prelims Masterclass of Art and Culture. So this particular masterclass is specially curated for the UPSC CSC Prelims 2025. So far we have started this art and culture. We have covered several important areas like architecture we have covered, literature we have covered, and even the prominent personalities in news also we have covered. So in today's session we'll be focusing on the significant events related to the art and culture that has taken place in the last 1 year or maybe the 2 year. Okay, all right. So let's begin by exploring the key developments that are likely to be relevant for this year's examination, the UPSC CSE 2025 examination. Okay, all right. So we'll start with a very important event. Yeah, this is 100 years of self-respect movement. Okay, it's a very major milestone in the Indian social history itself. In 2024, we marked the centenary celebrations of this pioneering movement that redefined the ideals of the social justice, especially in the South Indian region, and even the it was actually advocating the equality, especially in the South Indian region. Okay, so that is self-respect movement. So let's go back to the early 20th century to understand what is the self-respect movement. We need to know the background of especially the South India in the 20th century. Okay, 20th century, you know, right? India was already fighting with the British colonialism. Also, we were also fighting internally with the caste system, the caste hierarchy. Even the religious orthodoxy was also there, and the patriarchy was very much prominent there. And Tamil Nadu, like much of India, was dominated by the Brahminical social order. And even people were also, some of the communities were also marginalized, and they faced systemic discrimination also. Okay, so in this backdrop, one person is coming, a very important revolutionary voice is coming. So that is Periyar. Periyar E.V. Ramasamy Noyakar. Periyar E.V. Ramasamy Noyakar. So his name is E.V. Ramasamy Noyakar. He is popularly known as Periyar, or maybe sometimes known as Thandai Periyar also. Okay, so Periyar initially worked with the Congress. He was a part of the Indian National Congress. Within Congress itself, some important social reformations were also happening. But later, he became active in this type of movements. Other than the political movements, he became more active in this movement. Okay, another important movement in which Periyar was very much active is Vaikom Satyagraha. Again, we'll be discussing this Vaikom Satyagraha because Vaikom Satyagraha also celebrated the anniversary in 100th anniversary in 2024. Again, after this, we'll be discussing that also. Okay, Vaikom Satyagraha was temple entry for the oppressed class. So this is like a social reformation movement. Okay, anyway, however, frustrated with this lack of deep social reform within this mainstream nationalist movement, he founded something known as a self-respect movement. In 2025, he founded the self-respect movement. Okay, 1925, he founded the self-respect movement, mostly in the South India, especially Tamil Nadu region. In the Tamil Nadu region. Okay, what was actually the core goal of the self-respect movement? It was, the main goal was to dismantle many social inequalities which were prevalent during that particular time. Okay, so one was the caste-based oppression. Based on, within Hinduism itself, there was a caste-based oppression, and also the religious orthodoxy, especially the Brahminical hegemony, was also very much prominent, and also the patriarchal dominance. Women were also not having a proper role in the society. So one was against a caste dominance, another one was against a religious domination, and another one was against a patriarchy. Okay, so this was actually the main goal of, this was actually to dismantle all these things only. Periyar started the self-respect movement. Okay, so a rational, he envisioned a rational, scientific and a egalitarian society, not just in Tamil Nadu, but in the entire India itself. Okay, major philosophy was the freedom from the Brahminical hegemony. Main agenda was the freedom from the Brahminical hegemony, which Periyar believed that was perpetuating inequality. And also he promoted women's rights. Even he himself married a person from a lower caste, so he himself was a model in that also. And also he introduced something known as self-respect marriages. Self-respect marriages means non-Brahminical marriages. Okay, so usually in marriages a Brahmin priest will be there. Brahmin priest will be there. So this priest will only be conducting all this, what all the rituals will be conducted by this. So he said that no, we don't need any rituals. No rituals, no Brahmins. No rituals, no Brahmins. So this was Periyar's concept, and he called them as self-respect marriages. Self-respect marriage. It challenged all the deep-seated beliefs to their root itself. Okay, and also it was against all the superstitions. All the superstitions like the yagas. It was against all the yagas and all the things in which the Brahmins were having supremacy. It was that, and he simply opposed the religion also. And sometimes it is said that it's not a movement against the religion, but still it was against a movement against the evils in the religion. Okay, so this was what Periyar has told. Okay, all right. So many important, other than Periyar, many important other personalities were also part of this self-respect movement. One is Periyar itself, E.V. Ramaswamy Naikar, Periyar itself. So he is actually the founder of this self-respect movement. Okay, and he is also the founder of the Dravida Kazhagam. Dravida Kazhagam, so which later became the foundation of the present day, the most popular parties of Tamil Nadu, that is DMK, Dravida Munneta Kazhagam and AIDMK. Okay, so the predecessor was Dravida Kazhagam. So Periyar is actually the founder of this Dravida Kazhagam, and he is also known as the father of Dravidian movement. Periyar is the father of Dravidian movement. Okay, father of Dravidian movement. Again, C.N. Annadure. C.N. Annadure was the disciple of Periyar himself. Okay, C.N. Annadure was a disciple of Periyar. Later, he carried forward his ideals, and again, he made it into a political mobilization. So, Periyar was mostly focusing on social justice. Social justice. C.N. Annadure took it into the political stage. Took it into the political state also, and he is the founder of DMK, Dravida Munneta Kazhagam. It's a very popular party in Tamil Nadu. The present ruling party is also Dravida Munneta Kazhagam. Okay, so C.N. Annadure had a very important disciple, that is M. Karunanidhi. M. Karunanidhi also, in the later period, M. Karunanidhi was also inspired by both this Dravidian movement as well as a self-respect movement. Okay, M. Karunanidhi was also a writer. So many writers, many thinkers, and even the activists of other Dravidian movements, so they also drew inspiration from this self-respect movement in the later time period. Okay, all right. So these are the three important people who were inspired, or founders as well as people who were inspired by this self-respect movement. Okay, so in the present era also we can see that the modern era also this movement has evolved into a different version. So some people call it as a self-respect 2.0. They call it as a self-respect 2.0. Okay, we can call it as a modern self-respect movement itself. So this addresses the new issues. We have new issues like cultural homogenization. Cultural homogenization means a loss of identity, loss of diverse identities will be there. So like that, for example, the Hindi imposition, all these things we can call it as a cultural homogenization. Okay, so again we call it as self-respect. The fight against that we call it as a self-respect 2.0. Okay, and also we have the rights for the LGBTQ community. Okay, so that also is coming under this what self-respect movement 2.0. Okay, 2.0. And intersectionality. Intersectionality means overlapping the social identities. So the various social identities, and also there are also related systems of oppression are also there. So fight against that. That also maybe we can include in the self-respect 2.0. Okay, and also present day in the digital world we have digital misinformation also. Okay, that is also something which is causing a issue for our self-respect. So that also we can call it as self-respect 2.0. Okay, and also divisive politics, divisive ideology, divisive politics based on the caste, based on the religion, all this politics, all these issues are also happening. So that also maybe we can include in the self-respect 2.0. Okay, so this is a historical evolution of the self-respect movement, and also the present context of the self-respect movement. It's very important from the prelims point of view, and maybe this particular thing is important from the, you can write it, use it for the mains perspective also. Okay, all right. So moving on to another important event which has completed the 100 years. So that is Vaikom Satyagraha. Again, I've already mentioned regarding this Vaikom Satyagraha while discussing the discussing this E.V. Ramasamy Noyakar as well as a self-respect movement. So here we will be focusing completely on exclusively on the Vaikom Satyagraha. Again, this is also very important milestone in India's social reform journey. Okay, so Vaikom Satyagraha, which has also completed 100 centenary this year. Okay, again here also let's first understand what is actually the context of this Vaikom Satyagraha. Okay, so here also we have to go back to the early 20th century, especially in the present day Kerala. Self-respect movement was focusing on the present day Tamil Nadu. Okay, so this was in the Kerala. So this is the Travancore region, or we call it as a Thiruvidankur. Okay, Travancore is the modern day Kerala, especially the southern part of Kerala, southern central as well as the southern part of Kerala. Okay, so Travancore was a kingdom. In modern history also we have discussed regarding Travancore, like the Tipu Sultan has attacked the kingdom of Travancore, and that was one of the reasons why the Anglo-Mysore war happened also. Okay, like that we have already discussed in our classes also. Okay, all right. So this was against the rigid caste structures as well as the oppression by the higher caste. Okay, so here the context is the lower caste, especially the Avarnas. Avarna means it is like the lower caste. Okay, so here itself many castes were there, like Igavas were there, Pulayas were there, and other outcast people were also there. So-called outcast people were also there. Okay. So these people were barred from entering the temple routes. Okay, so temple routes were exclusively maintained for the people from the higher caste, not from the lower caste, but only from the higher caste. Okay, and they were not allowed on even during the early time period. The higher caste people should not see these lower caste people also. So that kind of a social evil condition was prevailing, especially in the Travancore region. Okay, so this is related to a temple, that is a Vaikom Mahadeva temple. Vaikom Mahadeva temple in Kerala, in the Travancore region. So these roads were considered as sacred, and that was only reserved for the, and that too upper caste Hindus only, particularly the Nambudiri Brahmins and the Nair sections of the society. Okay, so meanwhile, across India, the national movement was also gaining momentum. Okay, 1924, you know, right? During this period, the non-cooperation movement was going in, the Khilafat agitation was going in. So like that, the national movement was also gaining momentum, and many social reformers were also coming up with their own ideologies, and they also realized that political freedom without social freedom would be meaningless. So to attain political freedom, we definitely need to have social freedom. Political freedom against the Britishers, social freedom within ourselves. So that is necessary. So that was actually the idea which was put forward by the the reforms. Idea which was put forward by the reforms. Okay, so it was within this background this Vaikom Satyagraha has taken place. Okay, and also this linked the social equality with the larger national struggle also. Okay, so what were the primary objectives of this Vaikom Satyagraha? Yeah, some of the most important issue here was the Avarnas were not allowed to enter the temple routes. Okay, so the major fight was against that only, to assert the right of the marginal caste, especially in using of this public facilities like roads, especially around the temples, and also to challenge this untouchability and discrimination at a broader social level. So that was also one of the aim, not just in those roads alone, but in a broader social level also. They wanted to establish this idea that this public spaces must be accessible to all citizens, irrespective of their caste, irrespective of their language, irrespective of their social status. It should be a public. Public means it should be public. So this was actually the thing which was proponed by these reformers. Okay, and it's this particular event is having a lot of significance also. Significance is that this is actually the major organized organized temple entry movement in entire India itself. Major, because this was not an issue which happened only in India. Only in South India or maybe in Travancore. This is something which is happening in all parts of India. The Brahminical hegemony was going on. The religious orthodoxy was going on. So all these things were affecting the lower caste, especially this untouchable caste. Okay, so at that time, the movement, someone should initiate the movement, and that happened in South India. So that is a major significance of this particular event, the first major temple entry movement in entire India itself. Okay, regarding the entry rights. Okay, and also it further inspired many other movements in Kerala itself. Another important temple is there, that is Guruvayur temple, Guruvayur Sri Krishna temple. So here also the Guruvayur Satyagraha, again it's also something similar only. Okay, to entry to the Guruvayur Satyagraha, and later the Travancore, the kings, so they had to come up with the proclamation that is known as the 1936 Temple Entry Proclamation. So Temple Entry Proclamation means the lower caste of the Dalits, they were allowed to enter the temple. So this is Temple Entry Proclamation, which is said to be a very important landmark proclamation in the history of India itself. Okay, so like every movement which happened during that time, for example, Khilafat issue, that was also linked to the national movement. So like that way, this was also linked to the national movement with the India's freedom struggle itself. Okay, so that is the significance of this significance of this Vaikom Satyagraha. Okay, all right. Some of the important key personalities associated with this Vaikom Satyagraha. One is Tegh Bahadur. Tegh Bahadur was a journalist. He was a social reformer. And he played a pivotal role in raising this temple entry issue at the Kakinada session of Indian National Congress, part of Congress, and Kakinada session of INC. Okay, so by doing this, he ensured that this movement, which was a localized movement, was elevated in the national level itself. Okay, so that's why this is still remembered as a national wide movement. This happened in 1923. Okay, and he is someone who initiated this particular, we can call it as he is someone who initiated this movement, or maybe the ideological foundation of this particular Satyagraha. Okay, another one is KP Keshav Menon. Keshav Menon. He is a respected lawyer, and he was also an activist. So he initially led the campaign. Okay, so he initiated in the national level. KP Keshav Menon, he led the campaign. Initially. Okay, and he also mobilized public opinion, and also he organized the volunteers for this particular campaign. Okay, another important person is K. Kelappan. He is known for his role in the Dandi March and all. Okay, so K. Kelappan is also known as Kerala Gandhi. Is also known as Kerala Gandhi. So he was also a very important person who was pivotal in his role in both almost all the national struggle which happened after this 1920s itself, also known as a Kerala Gandhi. Okay, so he was a person who always strive for the peaceful protest. Okay, it should not be violent protest, it should be a peaceful protest. Okay, another one is Periyar E.V. Ramasamy Naikar. Again, we have discussed everything related to Periyar E.V. Ramasamy Naikar. So many of these important leaders were arrested in the initial phase. Leaders were arrested, and at that time Periyar, he was a very fiery Tamil social reformer. So he took charge of this movement. He mobilized this massive support from, especially from the Tamil Nadu region. Also, he was able to get this support, and his leadership earned him a title also, that is Vaikom Veerar. Was later known as Vaikom Veerar. Okay, like that. So, okay, so everybody has their own significance in this particular thing. Vaikom Veerar means hero of Vaikom, heroes Vaikom. That's why while spearheading this self-respect movement, he was already hailed as a leader. The people were there to listen to this E.V. Ramasamy Naikar. Okay, and also his broader message that also emphasized self-respect movement and abolition of this caste and egalitarianism. Okay, and another important person who is coming, he is not having any direct involvement in this, but that is Mahatma Gandhi himself. Okay, Mahatma Gandhi is not having any direct connection with this. Okay, or maybe he did not lead the movement directly, but Gandhi gave the moral support, moral and the strategic support during, especially when it was taken to the what Congress session, 1923 Congress session. So he visited Vaikom also. Once he visited Vaikom in 1925. After this, he visited Vaikom and he had negotiation, especially with this upper caste Hindus and even the state authorities, the Rajas kingdom of Travancore and also the region Maharani who was ruling during that period. Gandhi also advocated this non-violent. Even K. Kelappan is known as a Kerala Gandhi. He was also a staunch follower of this Gandhi. He was a Gandhi. Okay. Another person, he is Srinarayana Guru. So he is also known as the father of Kerala Renaissance. Father of Kerala Renaissance. He is a spiritual leader, a word spiritual leader in Kerala. He is from the Iyava community. Okay. So Iyavas were one of the communities who were banned from entering this what temples. Okay, so he is considered as one of the person who is part of this Iyava community, and he gave moral support, moral and philosophical support to the Iyava community itself. Okay, his famous slogan is one God, one caste, one religion, and one God for all. Okay, all this account the spirit of the Satyagraha, entire Satyagraha itself. Okay, and later the temple entry proclamation was that was a direct consequence of this this mobilization that was initiated in Vaikom Satyagraha. Okay, all right. So that's it related to Vaikom Satyagraha. Again, moving on to another key event which happened in 2024. Okay, so that was 100 years of Indus Valley Civilization. 100 years of the Indus Valley Civilization discovery. Okay, all right. So here also we need to understand what is actually the background of this particular issue. In our classes, we have already discussed related to what is Indus Valley. Here we'll be going with a very brief information related to Indus Valley Civilization, since it's mostly based on current affairs only. Okay, so what is actually the background of this Indus Valley Civilization? All right, so it happened in 1924. 1924, Sir John Marshall. So John Marshall, so he was a then Director General of ASI, or Archaeological Survey of India. He was a then Director of Archaeological Survey of India, and he first formally announced the groundbreaking discovery. Okay, so he discovered Harappa. Harappa, it's in Punjab. Punjab, in the sense, don't think that it's in the present day Indian Punjab, but this is in the Pakistan Punjab. Okay, so Pakistan. So his discovery of this Harappa, the first site, Harappa. So that's why this civilization is also known as Harappan civilization, based on the first site which was discovered in the present day Pakistan. And later, another important discovery was also happening. That was Mohenjo-daro. Mohenjo-daro is a Sindh area. Again, this is also in the present day Pakistan. Mohenjo-daro, it's in the Sindh area of the present day Pakistan. Two important places which showed which gave very important information related to the ancient civilization of Indus Valley. Okay, all right. So before this discovery, it was generally believed that the oldest civilization were restricted to Egypt. You know, like the Egyptian civilization and even the Mesopotamian, the first civilization, that is Mesopotamian civilization. Okay, so John Marshall's announcement in 1924. So that shifted the global narrative to include India also, maybe the Indian subcontinent also in the cradle of this early civilization. Okay, so that was a major breakthrough based on this particular discovery. Okay, and other than the John Marshall, another people are also, their contributions are also instrumental in again the further progress of the findings in Indus Valley civilization. One is Dayaram Sani. Another one is Rakhal Das Banerjee, and another one is M.S. Watts. Okay, so they all had their own contributions in this Indus Valley civilization. Okay, all right. So yeah, next let's have a brief understanding of this Indus Valley civilization, or it is also known as a Harappan civilization. So why it is known as Harappan civilization? Because Harappa was the first place which was discovered in this particular place. So based on that, it is known as Harappan civilization. Okay, all right. So Harappan civilization or Indus Valley civilization. What is the timeline of this civilization? Maybe the approximate timeline will be from 2500 BC to 1500 BC. 2500 BC to 1500 BC. So this is the approximate timeline of this Harappan civilization. So that's more than even 4000, 5000 years ago. Okay, so just imagine that for a second, the how geographically wide this was. So for example, like the present day major areas of Pakistan. Here you can see that. So this is actually the expanse of this Indus Valley civilization. So and almost the entire Pakistan is also coming, and also the parts of India is also coming. So basically, the civilization flourished in the banks of the river Indus, and its tributaries. Indus and its tributaries. So we have both right wing tributaries are, as well as the left wing tributaries are also there. Indus, Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Satluj, Beas. Okay, so these are the tributaries of Indus. Okay, so Indus and its tributary. So this is the area where this civilization has flourished. Okay, so geographically it has a quite widespread was also there. Okay, and Pakistan is there, and also northwestern part of India, and some very short area in the East Afghanistan is also part of this Harappan or the Indus Valley civilization. Okay, all right. So, like I've already mentioned, Harappan was not the first civilization or something. This was somewhere contemporary. Okay, 2500 BC means somewhere contemporary to the other civilization like the Mesopotamian civilization, and also the that Mesopotamian civilization means it's in the, again, that's also a civilization which was born in the banks of Tigris and Euphrates. Tigris and Euphrates, we have the Mesopotamian civilization, and obviously the Egyptian civilization, which was born in the banks of the Nile River. Okay, Nile River, and also in China also we had a civilization that was a Chinese civilization that was on the banks of the Yellow River in China. Okay, so like that, this was actually the contemporary of these civilizations. Okay, all right. So now let's discuss some of the important key sites of this Harappan civilization. So first, we have already discussed regarding Harappa. So this was the first site. This was the first site in the present day Pakistan, Punjab. So another important site is Mohenjo-daro. Again, this is in the Sindh region. Okay, so this is from here only, from Mohenjo-daro only, we got the most valuable items from, like the dancing girl, the bronze statue of the dancing girl, the great bath, like that. Many important things we got from the Mohenjo-daro only. And Dholavira is in Gujarat. So Dholavira is known for its unique water conservation system, and also Dholavira is one of the largest sites in India. It's very well known for its unique water conservation system, and Dholavira is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Okay, so that's also one important aspect of this Dholavira. Okay, another important thing is Rakhi Garhi. So again, this is also one of the largest known sites of this Harappan civilization. Okay, again we have Lothal. Lothal is a port city. Lothal is a port city in the present day Gujarat. Lothal is a port city in the present day Gujarat. So this is a very important, Lothal gave very important information that we had trade relation, especially with the Mesopotamians. They called them as Meluha. The Indus Valley people were called by the Mesopotamians as Meluha. Okay, all right. So many important information we got from these areas. Okay, and other than that, we have many other areas like Banavali. Banavali is known for the distinct one. It's a regional architecture was there. So usually Harappans will be having a grid style of architecture will be there. So Banavali is having a radial architecture. Banavali is having a radial architecture. Okay, so that is one of the reasons of Banavali. And Kalibangan is also there. Kalibangan also, it's a very important area, like many important bonds during that period were excavated from the site of Kalibangan. Kalibangan. Okay, all right. Another important site is here we can see that Kodiji. Kodiji is also another important site in this region. Okay, so Kalibangan, Kodiji, Mohenjo-daro, and Harappa, that is in Pakistan, and also Dholavira. Okay, so these are some of the important sites in the Harappan civilization. Okay, every site is having its own distinct feature, is it? But Harappan had a very common. They had a common features, or some important common features are also there. Okay, so here I have mentioned that Harappan is the time period of Harappan is from 2500 to 1500 1300 BC. Okay, so this is actually the time period of Harappan civilization, but still we can see that there was actually a division in the major time period. Okay, so the one which were it is believed that the early signs of the civilization was shown in 3200 BC itself. Okay, it was believed that the early signs of the civilization was shown in 3200 BC itself. So that we call it as a early Harappan phase. Early Harappan phase. So important key features which we will be discussing. So that won't be there in this early Harappan phase. So here we can say that this is actually the foundational stage. This is a foundational Harappan stage. Okay, so also sometimes it is also known as Hakra phase. Okay, foundational phase of Hakra. Hakra, Ghagra, there is a river Ghagra. Okay, all right. So sometimes this Ghagra river is associated with the Saraswati also. Saraswati river. Okay, Saraswati river. Some people call it as a mythical river. A river which is of divine origin. So that we call it as mythical river. Okay, so settlements slowly began emerging during this Hakra phase. Okay, and this was a time of early experimentation. Like the later period, Harappans had their own set of architecture, their own set of agriculture, and all. So here they were experimenting with different things, and maybe they have discarded something, and then only they went into the the mature phase of this. Okay, and some people say that the early evidence of writing were also now also the Indus writing is not discovered, but the early writing system or the early Indus Valley script also slowly developed during this phase itself. Okay, so that these are the few important arguments related to this early Harappan phase. Okay, so next is the mature Harappan phase. So this is where we call it as a Indus Valley civilization or Harappan. When we say the features of Indus Valley civilization or the Harappan civilization, so this is exactly the phase which we are mentioning about. Okay, so here in this mature phase, we can see that the peak urbanism. Harappan is an urban civilization. Okay, so peak of urbanism we can say in this area, and the major important cities like the Mohenjo-daro or maybe the first site Harappa or Dholavira. So all this flourished during this mature Harappan phase only. Okay, so the planned cities are coming, the monumental buildings are coming, drainage system, public bath, all these things evolved during this particular period only. And also the society was also highly organized society. So some people are still having debate on the political structure. Okay, so people say that Harappans are not having a kind of a monarchical system. It might have had a system which we are following now, the ministerial system, like that way. The kind of elections might have happened, but most of the people are disagreeing that they were having this kind of a monarchical system, like the king, the palaces, all these things. That kind of system they have, most of the historians have disregarded. Okay. All right. So anyway, the key features of this phase we'll be discussing in the later slide. Okay. So what happened later? This is in the late Harappan phase, 1900 to 1500. So this is actually the declining phase. This is actually the declining phase. Okay, declining phase means what? Declining phase means slowly what all things peaked in the mature Harappan phase, so that slowly declined during the late Harappan phase. Okay, cities began to be weakened, the large urban centers, so that also started shrinking. Many people moved out of the cities, and maybe they might have moved out of the villages. They might have migrated towards south. Maybe disasters might have struck. Disasters might have struck, and the economy might have collapsed during this period. So, like that, all these things might have happened in the late Harappan phase. Okay, so these are the three important phases of Harappan civilization. Now, moving on to important key features of the Harappan people. The Harappans were master builders. Master builders, they were brilliant planners, brilliant town planners, because Harappan was an urban society, so they were town planners only. Okay, so their cities that followed a grid pattern. Mostly they followed a grid pattern. Okay, so I've already mentioned that Banavali was having a radial layout. Okay, but still that was an exception. Other than that, cities were following a grid pattern. You know what is a grid pattern? Grid pattern means the roads will be laid like this. So it will be intersecting. At some points it will be intersecting. So that is a grid type of pattern. Okay, and also they were having all the advanced systems. Advanced system means what? They were using the most important, I mean, like the advanced drainage system was there. Major ports, this port cities were like Lothal, the port city of Lothal. So that was developed during this mature Harappan phase and all. And also the city itself will be divided into two important sections. So one is the citadel. For example, if this is a city, this upraised portion, this is known as citadel. So in the citadel, the most important buildings will be part of the citadel. For example, the administrative, administrative buildings will be coming. The schools will be coming. The banking system was it. That will be coming. The granaries will be coming. So all these things, the most important architecture will be coming in this phase. Okay, and other than that, we have the lower town. So in this lower town, the normal people, the residential area will be in this lower town only. Okay, so this will be the common man's area, the lower town. Okay, so this is how the Harappan system was designed. Harappan architectural system was designed, and also they used advanced materials also. For example, now also we are using the baked bricks. So Harappans they were not using stones, but they were using little more advanced baked bricks for the construction. Okay, and they used to sun dry big bricks instead of the sun dried bricks. Okay, so it is believed that these bricks are more durable. Okay, and also in Mohenjo-daro we have got many unique architecture. For example, the Great Bath. Great baths are public baths. Okay, so public bath means this is something, it will be a huge bathing area. So some historians are saying that this was actually used for a ritualistic purpose. So that is actually one argument related to this. Okay, and also related to the economy. Harappans mostly were using a agriculture based economy. Okay, they farm along the fertile floodplains. Even if along the banks of the Indus River, they were farming along the banks of Indus River. They grew multiple crops. For example, wheat, barley, lentils, peas, sesame, and sometimes mustard also. Okay, so these were some of the important things which they have farm along the banks of the Indus River. Okay, but rice was rare. It is not, I cannot discard rice, but it was rare, somewhat rare. Okay, so that mostly it was wheat was it. Okay, and rice was found in some places like Lothal, maybe Rangpur and all it was it. But other than that, in the normal places, it was not there. And another important thing which they have cultivated is cotton. Okay, so this indicates that they were using textiles. They might have had a textile tradition also. Okay, so cotton cultivation was also there. Okay, some even based on this also, some people call them also. The Greek people also called Harappans based on this cotton, the name cotton only. Okay. All right. So another thing is the mixed economy system which they have followed. Okay. So even though we can say that it's an agriculture based, so mixed economy means pastoralism is also coming. Okay. So earlier in this nomadic phase only, people were following this pastoralism. For example, if you take the Neolithic culture, if you take the Neolithic culture or Neolithic culture, in the end of the Neolithic culture, we can see that slowly they started to settle. So before settling, they were following a pastoralism. Okay. So after Harappans also, the Vedic people, especially the early Vedic people, they were pastoralists, predominantly pastoralists. Okay. So here we can see that even though agriculture is predominant, they were having a mixed, both farming as well as pastoralism were part of their economy. Okay. All right. And another important thing, surprisingly, the Harappans had no coins, no coinage. In the later period, like in the Vedic period, we can see coins. Mahajanapada period, maybe in the Mauryan period, Gupta period, everywhere we can see the coins. But here, they were using something known as a barter system. So what do you mean by barter system? Barter system means I have some mangoes in my hand, but I want apples. Okay, so I'll give my mangoes and I'll get the apples. So this is something known as barter system. So they were using the barter system. So that's also one of the uniqueness of this Harappan economy. Okay. All right. So they had trade, both external trade as well as internal trade was also there within this areas in the north, south. They had trade, and also they had trade with the contemporary civilization like the Mesopotamians, the Chinese, and all. They were having good trades also. Okay. And one of the important evidences of this trade with this external area, that is seals. Okay. Seals were not coins. Seals were like made in different materials. For example, clay seals were there. Metal seals were there. So like that, different seals were also there. Okay. And these seals were found in the foreign land. So that is one of the reasons why we got the evidence that Harappans were having the external trade also. Okay. So the seals were used for trade purpose and also for as amulets. Amulets mean their belief, based on their beliefs, they'll wear it in their hand. Okay. So that is amulets. A very important seal is a Pashupati seal. Okay. So Pashupati seal is said to be early version of Shiva. Maybe we can call it as a proto Shiva. We can call it as a proto Shiva. Okay. All right. So related to the economy of this Harappan people. Okay. All right. So moving on to the crafts and technology of this Harappan people. They were skilled craftsmen. They used bronze. Mostly Harappan was in the Bronze Age. Harappan was in the Bronze Age. So obviously they will be focusing on the bronze sculptures. And very important bronze sculpture is Dancing Girl. Dancing Girl, which we have got from Mohenjo-daro. Dancing Girl, which you have got from Mohenjo-daro. It's a very important dancing girl. And also they were having very important clay or maybe steatite sculptures also. Steatite sculptures also. One is the mother goddess. One is a mother goddess. Okay. Another one is a bearded priest. Two important steatite sculptures. One is a mother goddess and another one is a bearded priest. Again, all these three are the what identity or maybe something which is unique to the Harappan civilization. When we say about Harappan civilization itself, maybe you will be getting images like the either the mother goddess or maybe the bearded priest or maybe dancing girl or maybe the Pashupati seal also. Okay. And they use bronze. So they used to get copper from this Rajasthan. Rajasthan is known for its copper ores. Okay. So the Khetri region in Rajasthan, there they used to get the copper. Okay. And also they had this naval, even the sea expeditions were also there. They had boats, they have carved seals were also there, crafted beads were also there, and pottery was also something which is very much important. This, so that we call it as a red and black pottery. Red and black pottery. Okay. Red and black pottery. So this is something which they have used. Okay. And these people, I have already mentioned that they use cotton. They use cotton. So now we understood that they were using this dress. Clothes were also prevalent, and also they have jewelries also. Both men as well as women, they were fond of the jewelry. Okay, it will be varying, it will be differing, but still both of them wore the jewelry also. It will be made of either gold or silver or maybe the other semi-precious stones will also be. Okay, Harappan people were not having temples. There is no proper evidence that Harappan peoples were very much religious or maybe they have temple, but still they had beliefs. So that's why the bearded priest is coming. Priest is parts of some sort of a belief only. Mother goddess is coming. They might have worshipped mother goddess. So like that way, they had some belief, but no proper evidence of a temple-like structure was. We didn't get anything from that. Okay, and also they had some symbolic worship also, like the people tree was also worshipped. Later, Buddhism people tree became a very iconic symbol. So like that way, that was also there. Okay, so these are some of the important features of Harappan civilization. Something which is from a static point of view also you need to understand. So that's why I went a little elaborate on this. Okay, now we'll see some of the recent development in this particular regard. Okay, all right. So recently, the National Maritime Heritage Complex. So that was started in, the construction was started in Lothal. Lothal we have discussed, right? So it's in Gujarat. Okay, it's part of the Sagarmala project. Sagarmala in the port development, that is Sagarmala project. Port development. Okay, so National Maritime Heritage Complex at Lothal. So this is a mega project, and this will be honoring the maritime achievements of that area, and obviously it will be having contributions of this Harappan maritime things also. Okay, all right. So another important thing is Dholavira was recognized as UNESCO World Heritage Site. Earlier itself I have mentioned. Dholavira was recognized as UNESCO World Heritage Site. Dholavira is also in Gujarat. Okay. So Dholavira is known for its unique agriculture as well as irrigation and water systems. Okay, so that is Dholavira. Next one is Rakhi Garhi. Again, this is also an iconic site status. It was given an iconic site status. Maybe a museum will also be coming up in Rakhi Garhi. So the development was declared in the 2020-2021 budget. Okay, all right. So, and also now also we have many important debates going on, especially related to the Indus script. Recently, the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister has announced, again that also happened last year. So he has announced that the person who is deciphering this Indus Valley script, so he will be given a very decent sum of money. Okay, so that discussions are also going on. So another thing we don't have exact evidence regarding is how the Harappans have declined. What is actually the reason behind the Harappans? Again, this debate is also going, whether it be climate change, whether it be the invasion of the Aryan community. So that evidence is also not there. So these debates are also going on. Okay, all right. So that's it related to this particular topic. Next one, moving on to another. This Haridasa movement. This one is a Haridasa movement. So again, this is a very important devotional and philosophical movement of this medieval India, Haridasa. So it was in the news. So recently, the Mysore Sangeeta Sugandha Festival. So that was celebrated, and this was also something related to the Haridasa movement. Okay, Haridasa movement, or maybe the Dasa tradition. So this is something in the Carnatic music. So we'll be discussing regarding what is this Haridasa movement and details regarding that. Okay, so what is the background of this particular? Okay, so origin of this Haridasa movement, this we can trace back to the 13th or the 14th century. 14th century. So this was a time when the Bhakti movement was blossoming across India. So Haridasa means servants of Hari. So who is Hari? Hari is actually another name which they use for the Vishnu. So Hari, Haran means Shivan. So Hari is Vishnu, or maybe the Krishna cult. Okay. So Hari Dasa, or the servants of Hari, or servants of Lord Vishnu. Okay. So at the core, this movement stood for devotion or bhakti. Okay. Devotion or bhakti. So bhakti means what? Bhakti means path to salvation. Bhakti means path to salvation. And how we can get the salvation? It will be through the devotion of Vishnu. It will be through the worshipping the Vishnu. Okay, devotion to Vishnu, or maybe incarnation like Krishna. Okay, another important thing is it's one of the primary aim was to popularize a very important philosophy, that was Dvaita Vedanta. That was Dvaita Vedanta. So this was something which was initiated by a person, Madhavacharya, mean Madhavacharya. Okay, so what were the important aspects of this? One, Haridasa means servants of Hari, the people who worship Vishnu. Okay, Vishnu or incarnation Krishna. So during this 13th, 14th century, Bhakti movement was becoming prominent. Bhakti movement means actually to reform the religion, or maybe to attract more people to the religion without this rituals itself. So that is Bhakti movement. Okay, so initially, so the term Bhakti means it's actually not ritual, but it's actually the path to salvation. So how this Haridasa is considered the path to salvation? It's through devotion to Vishnu. Okay, devotion through Vishnu. Okay, so the philosophy which was propagated, that was Dvaita Vedanta, which was propagated by Madhavacharya. Okay, Madhavacharya. So let's understand the background of this Madhavacharya also. Okay, so Madhavacharya was a person who was behind this ideology of Dvaita Vedanta. Okay, Dvaita means dualism. Advaita means non-dualism. Dvaita means dualism. Dvaita, dualism. Okay, dualism. It's two. That is what Madhavacharya said. So Madhavacharya, he was born in this Udupi. Udupi is in Karnataka. Okay, the coastal region of Karnataka. So philosophy was the dualism. So according to Madhavacharya, Atman. Atman means Atma. Atma means what? The individual soul. Paramatma means maybe the divine soul, or maybe the supreme soul. Okay, so they are eternally different. It's not, Advaita is saying that both are same. My Atma and the supreme soul both are same. Here Madhavacharya is saying that it's not same, it is dual. Paramatma is different, my Atma is also different. So this is the basic concept of this Dvaita Vedanta. Okay, Dvaita Vedanta, Atman and Paramatman are eternally different, and Atman can never become Paramatman also. Even after salvation also, it is not possible. Okay, so the in contrast, Shankaracharya's Advaita. Shankaracharya's Advaita is saying that non-dualism means both Atma and Paramatma, they are same only. They are same only. Okay, so that's what Shankaracharya said. And also Vishtadvaita by Ramanuja, qualified non-dualism. Again, here also it is non-dualism only. Okay, so he proposed that souls are distinct yet dependent on God. They are distinct, but they are dependent on God. So this is what Vishishta Advaita is saying. Okay, qualified non-dualism is saying. He again further would give another dimension to the non-dualism. Okay, some of the important works of Madhavacharya. One is Gita Bhashya. Gita Bhashya, you know, Gita is Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so it's commentary on the Bhagavad Gita. So that is Gita Bhashya, and the other one is Brahma Sutra Bhashya. Brahma Sutra Bhashya. So this is actually the text explaining the types of what Brahma, or maybe the karma itself. Okay. Another one is Vishnu Tattva Nirnaya, Karma Nirnaya, and Anubhashya. Again, these are also commentaries on the supremacy of Vishnu. Okay, Madhavacharya is someone who is revered by the what Haridasas. Haridasas means people who worship Vishnu or Krishna. Okay, or maybe incarnations, any other incarnation. So basically, he was a Vaishnavite. So these are the books which were praising the Vishnu. Okay, praising Vishnu. And he also introduced something known as a Madhava Sampradaya. Madhava Sampradaya, or sometimes known as a Madhava Siddhanta also. Basically, this is the Dvaita philosophy itself. Okay. Alright, so what were the objectives of this people? What were the objectives of this Haridasas or followers of this Madhavacharya? One is a propagation of this Madhava Siddhanta or Dvaita. Okay, so that is dualism. Dualism, it is not like Paramatma has to be worshipped separately. It is not within us, but it has to be separately. And who is Paramatma here? It is a Vishnu. Okay, Vishnu is a Paramatma here, but it was not just a what only a worshipping philosophy, but they aimed at social upliftment also, social upliftment as well as social integration also. Though reached out to all the caste. It's not like only this Vishnu can be worshipped by the Brahmins alone. It's not like that, but it can even reach other people like the lower caste. So everybody has to be considered for this. So that was also one of the objectives of this. Haridasas, the propagation of this philosophy. Okay, this particular philosophy, and social integration among the castes. And also one bonus thing which you have got is the in every bhakti movement, something which we can see is the rise of the vernacular languages, whether it be Tamil or whether it be even the North India, or maybe go to the Rajasthan region, Mirabai was there. So like that way, the local or the vernacular languages became very much prominent in the bhakti movement. Why? Because this was aimed at the common people. If it was aimed at only Brahmins, they could have done in Sanskrit itself. But here it is focusing on the common people. So they have to use a vernacular languages. Vernacular language. So their literary contribution will be in here. In this case, it is Kannada. Okay, it's a Kannada. So they use Kannada to teach spirituality. Okay, and also it gave a huge boost to the Kannada literature also. Okay, and also the complex Vedantic idea. So that also became accessible for the common man. And another thing is the contributions which they gave to the musical evolution. Okay, so they propagated bhakti through music and the composition. Okay, so basically we can say that it greatly shaped the Carnatic music edition. Okay, so that's why this earlier itself I said the context regarding the Mysore Sangeeta Sabha. Okay, all right. So bhakti through music. So this became one of the foundations of this Carnatic music tradition. The Carnatic music also, mostly it is devotional compositions only. Okay, all right. So this music tradition that enriched its devotional, the cultural and artistic values of that region were also improved during this particular moment. Okay. All right. Moving on to next topic. Renaming of a very important capital city, that is Port Blair. Port Blair was renamed to Sri Vijayapuram. It was renamed to Sri Vijayapuram. Okay, it's a very important development in India is having its own ongoing efforts to decolonize. Now also we have a very important areas which is having the colonial legacy. So now we are in the move to decolonize these public symbols, especially the names of the roads, some statues and all these things also happening. Okay. All right. So we'll discuss regarding what is the context. Okay, so regarding the presently renamed Sri Vijayapuram, so this is the earlier erstwhile Port Blair, and that is the capital of Andaman and Nicobar Island. Capital of Andaman and Nicobar Island. So where is Andaman and Nicobar Island? So maybe the Port Blair, to be specific, it is southern coast of the South Andaman Island. Southern coast of the South Andaman Island. So here you can see. Yeah, here you can see this is actually Port Blair. Okay, southern coast of the South Andaman Island. We have Andaman Islands, we have Nicobar Islands. So this is in the southern coast of the South Andaman Islands. Okay, so that is a geographical location of this, and it's almost 1,300 kilometers east of the mainland India. 1,300. That's the shortest distance from mainland India across this Bay of Bengal. So why this Port Blair is important, or maybe why Andaman itself is important, because this Andaman is one of the primary gateway to this island, primary gateway through the island itself. So that is a major importance of this the city of Port Blair. Not just now, but if you take the historical time itself, you can see that Andaman has been part of our India's freedom struggle. Maybe if you go to the Chola period also, Andaman was one of the more strategic areas. Okay, that is a thing related to this. And obviously Andaman is a very important tourist destination also. Now we have two islands, Lakshadweep as well as Andaman. So one of the major revenues of this particular island is tourism. Okay, people go there. And defense also, obviously our boundary, it's not just a mainland boundary, we have to secure the other boundaries. So defense, aspect of defense also, it is very much important. Okay, now let's see the historical legacy of this thing. Okay, so why this island was named as Port Blair? Island was named as Port Blair because of the colonial legacy. Okay, so Archibald Blair, Lieutenant Archibald Blair, so he was actually a British officer. Okay, Archibald Blair was a British East India Company naval officer. Okay, so he was a person who surveyed. He surveyed and English and established the British settlement here in the 18th century, long back when Britishers came to India. Okay, late 18th century, he surveyed this region, and established the British settlement here. Okay, so that's why this was named as Port Blair. Port Blair in the memory of him. Another important thing is it's a site of cellular jail. Site of cellular jail, also known as Kalapani. Okay, Kalapani. So numerous Indian freedom fighters, they were also imprisoned here, and maybe this is very much infamous for the torturing. Say so they'll be taken away from the mainland. They'll be taken away from the mainland. Even if they did something in the mainland, also they'll be taken away. They'll be isolated here in this cellular jail, and even the journey itself was hectic. Going from there to the mainland to here, it might take many days or many weeks, and it will take, and also sometimes people might die on the way also. So that is something. And after coming here also, it's known for its torture. And the major leaders, they will be jailed there only, but leaders who has committed maybe some murder or something, or maybe who the Britishers feel like they want to isolate, they'll keep it here only without any proper treatment. Okay, and also it is having a role in India's later freedom struggle in 1943 also. So during that period, Subhash Chandra Bose, so he hoisted the tricolor here. Okay, when he was part of the INA, Indian National Army, so he hoisted the tricolor here, and that symbolically establishing the Indian sovereignty over the entire islands itself. Okay, and later during the World War period, Japanese occupation. Temporarily it was occupied by the Japanese. Okay, from 1943 to 1945 till the fall of the Japanese. So again, it was a strategic military use. That was also very much important. Okay, alright. So why this particular name? Why this name Sri Vijayapuram? So we have to go back to the Chola dynasty. In Chola dynasty also we have covered in the in detail while discussing this medieval India and Cholas. So this was inspired by the Cholas naval legacy. Okay, Chola dynasty's naval legacy, and I've already mentioned that Cholas were very much known for the naval expedition, especially during the period of Rajaraja Chola and his son Rajendra Chola. Also, it was known for its naval expeditions. Okay, so they even had their contacts in other countries like Burma, or maybe the Vietnam region, Maldives, that Indonesia, Sumatra, like that area also. They had many establishments there during the Chola period itself. So Andaman was also one of the important strongholds of this Chola region. So Cholas expanded their naval dominance across the Southeast Asia. At that time, Andaman was also used as a naval outpost of this Chola expedition. Okay, so during that period, Srivijaya, the Srivijaya Empire, okay, present day Indonesia, Malaysia region. So that Srivijaya Empire. So they were fighting against the Srivijaya, and Srivijaya was also later. Srivijaya also became surrendered to the Chola Empire. So at that time, they used this particular region as a their naval outpost. Okay, and related to this evidence in the Tanjavur inscription. In the Tanjavur we have the Periya Kovil or the Tanjavur Brihadeshwara temple. So there also we can see the historical evidence related to this particular what name also, the Sri Vijayapuram name also. Okay, so in this inscriptions they call it as Ma Nakavaram. Okay, Ma Nakavaram or the Great Open Island. They call it as Manakavaram or the Great Open island, Manakavaram, or the Great Open Island. So that is also we have proper evidence related to this. Okay, so moves like this help retrieve and even popularize the chapters of Indian history, uh, especially, and also decolonize the symbols which were given by the Britishers also. Okay, all right. So yeah, next again another important term from this ancient history itself. So this is related to the Kudavole system. Kudavole system. So this is basically an ancient democracy which was prevailing in the South India during the time of kings itself, where monarchy was prominent itself. We had some sort of democracy. So that was mentioned in the Kudavole system. So why this was in the news? Because in the 2024 Republic Day parade, Tamil Nadu, the tableau of Tamil Nadu versus Kudavole system. So at that time it was in the news. Okay, so let's understand the setting of this thing. The historical context of this, again, this is during the Chola period only, in the 10th century. In the 10th century, during the Chola period, this was a system which was in the villages of the Chola dynasty. Okay, all right. So you can see the timeline here, 10th century. Okay, evidence regarding this is coming from the Udiramerur inscription. Udiramerur inscription during the period of Parantaka Chola. During the period of Parantaka Chola, one of the early Cholas. Okay. Alright. So what are the key features of this Kudavole system? Kudavole system. The word meaning of Kudavole is port ticket system. Kudavole means port ticket system. So every village will be having. So this is actually basically village election. So every village was divided into 30 wards. Now also we are dividing it into different wards. So based on that only, now also we are doing the election. So you can get the what is actually the contemporary relation you can get from here itself. So the ward division will be there per village. It will be ward divisions will be there, and one representative was elected from each ward. Okay, so all the elected members, they came together. And they formed something known as a Varium or the village committees, village administrative committees. Variums or the village administrative committee. So this is actually the functional unit of administration. So again, this varium were again further divided into specialized committees will be there. Specialized committees for specialized purpose. For example, this garden varium for agriculture, and this tang varium for water management, even the gold varium that was a treasury. So like that, now also we have different specialized subcommittees will be there for every within the corporation, maybe the municipal council we have this. So this was also prevalent during that particular name. Okay, so why this Kudavole, the port ticket system? Because the eligible name of this eligible candidate, so that will be written in the palm leaf. It will be written in the palm leaf, and so this leaf is known as ole or vole. Okay, vole means leaf, and this Kuda means pot. Okay, so in this leaf, palm leaf, it will be written. The names will be written, and it will be placed in the pot. It will be placed in the pot or koda. So one young boy will be, so it is considered as a neutral person or maybe an innocent person. So he will be called, and he will be blindfolded. He will be blindfolded, and it will be mixed like the lottery system. So they'll be drawing the lottery randomly, and this selected name would be the next representative, or he will become the representative of that particular ward. Okay, so this is basically a lottery system, but still it gave some decentralized and specialized governance. Okay, so that was established. Okay, it's not like every names will be, if I want to contest, you want to contest, everyone want to contest, you can go and contest. It's not like that. Whoever written is put in the pot, name is put in the pot, they are all eligible. So for that, they had an eligibility criteria was also there. Okay, so that we'll see. Yeah, one is they should be having good knowledge of the Vedas. The Vedic knowledge is well versed in Vedic knowledge, and also they should have land property. Landed property is also needed. Obviously, they should have a very clean record. Like they should not be involved in any social offenses or any criminal activities. Okay, now also we don't have that kind of a rule, but still during that period they even had that kind of thing was also there. And obviously they should have having a minimum age and education qualification. Now we don't even have an education qualification, so we can see how advanced their system was. Okay, now it's not like that whoever gets a majority of those, they'll only be selected as a leader. But nowadays, in the earlier times, it was not the case. Okay, so they ensure that only capable individuals could stand for the selection itself. So after that, whoever is selected, they are having this thing, and later only this lottery thing is also coming. Okay, so what are the significance of this? Why this is significant even in the present time? The one is the local participation in the government. So at that time, during the period of centralized administrations and also local participation, it ensured that there is a local participation in the government and promoted merit-based leadership over the hereditary rights. For example, if one person will be the administrator, his son will be the next administrator. So in this system, instead of that merit-based system, it is coming. Maybe the person who is the present administrator, he will be qualified, but his son won't be qualified. Okay, like the present day politics. So like that way, to avoid that, they make sure that even in the shortlisted one, everyone is qualified. Okay, and there should be a fairness. Why? That's why it's not like everyone's name is written and a neutral person is coming and taking. Okay, so there's a fairness and transparency in the selection process. Okay, all this build a collective sense of responsibility towards this village welfare, and the significance lies in the fact that such a system existed more than 1000 years in the Chola period, in the 10th century itself. Now we are in the 20th century, so more than 1000 years itself this kind of a system was established. So that is actually the significance of this particular event. Okay, all right, so that's it for today. We'll have a few more topics are there, and also we have one more section is also left, so that we'll be discussing in our later session. Okay, all right, so that's it for today. Thank you.